the mighty and resilient Merrimack River, carving through the communities of our great region. My name is Linda Lorden, proud president of Merrimack County Savings Bank, and like the river that serves as our namesake, we're a constant yet ever-changing presence. Because to us, it's bigger than banking. It's about powering communities and putting people first. It's about knowing where you came from and where you're going. That's Merrimack style. Visit us at themerrimack.com.
Hello and welcome back to Chasing Excellence, a show about chasing what truly matters. My name is Patrick Cummings. As always, I'm here with Ben Bergeron. How are you, my friend?
Doing good, buddy.
Good. Thanks everybody out there for joining us. This episode, we've got listener questions. This time around, we're hearkening back a little bit to our previous format. We've got 5 questions across the 5 factors: how we eat, how we move, think, connect, and recover. We've got 1 question in each one of those factors. I'm excited to dive into it with you. First, a couple of news and notes. First thing, chasingexcellence.email. If you'd like to get a question into a future episode, that is the best way to do it. Every Saturday, we send out an email with a link to a form, and you can submit as many questions as you'd like. While you are there, do consider joining us in the Chase Club, where we will be hosting our second book club very shortly. We're going to be reading The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter together soon. Right now is a great time. You can get 25% off for an entire year. No links or codes needed. Just if you go to chasingexcellence.email, upgrade your subscription, you'll get that 25% off. Before we get into the questions, a quick shout out from Zed. Shout out is just when we take a minute to read a note that a listener has sent us. And this is a really good one. This is from Zed. He says, I've always had a million things I wanted to ask you both, but this is not a question. This is a thank you to both of you and your guests. I've been a listener for quite a few years. I've learned to become a better coach, athlete, partner, and friend through your teachings. I have come up against my greatest challenge so far the last few months. My fiance has suffered from an extreme case of anxiety and OCD to the point where we almost lost her. Through this challenging time, it is the teachings I've learned from you both that has made me take this on with a warrior mindset and appreciate this as a chance to learn. Many years ago, this would have broken me, but today I see it as a challenge to be more patient, a better fiance, more understanding, and to learn the depths of what the human mind can tell itself, and understanding this so I can help. A guiding light through a dark time. My partner has been through the dark stages of this. She is slowly but surely mending. I'm constantly pursuing a life of fulfillment, filling my bucket every day so I can help fill my fiance's bucket. This attitude, lifestyle, belief, and growth has been heavily guided by you both. Thank you, Ben and Patrick, for who you are and what you do for the world.
Wow.
Thank you, Zed.
Yeah, thank you, Zed. That's really cool to hear, man. It's really cool to hear like all the stuff we say coming back to us. That's really amazing.
I agree.
Love it.
Okay. 5 questions. This first one is from Erin. She is actually a Chase Club member. This is in our move category. I'm attending a selection course in the fall and will train for it over 8 to 12 weeks. I'll be evaluated on at least 2 tests: the Army Combat Fitness Test, which is a 2-mile run, 2 minutes of hand release push-ups, max plank, max 3-rep deadlift, and a sprint drag carry, and the upper body round robin, 5-mile run, 1 minute of push-ups, 1 minute of sit-ups, pull-ups, dips, kip-ups, 80% body weight, bench press, 20-foot rope climb with a weight vest, shuttle run. Happy to repeat any of those if that's useful.
Wow.
Additionally, there will be other events involving runs, rucks, and heavy carries over long distances. My question, should these tests be included in my training program? If so, how often should I do them? If not, what do you recommend for preparation?
Yeah. So 8 to 12 weeks into a specific test, but that specific test is varied, meaning it's not like run a 5K. It's not just how many push-ups can you do. And the question is, should she incorporate some of these tests into her training? Exactly. The answer is yes. So in strength training principles, there's a concept called SAID, S-A-I-D, which stands for Specific Adaptation to Impose Demands. Meaning, if you want to get a lot better at something, you need to do that something. No matter how fit you get, like think of the fit Matt Fraser, Katrin David's daughter, Tia Claire Toomey. If they have never swam before, if they've never been in the water, that fitness will not carry over to swimming the way it would if they were swimming in their training. So the answer to that is yes, you need to do the specific things. Now, does that mean you do only the specific? No, it does not. So what we want to do is take the best crack at what those challenges, those tests will be, and we want to train for them. And the way you train for them is you break them down into essentially intervals so you can overload them. In this case, it sounds like all of these, there's a speed component with the running, maybe the carry, and then the rest seem to be like muscular endurance, like how many push-ups, dips, sit-ups, pull-ups, push-ups you do. It is funny that I think push-ups showed up twice, and then there's also a bench press, which is like almost the same thing. And I would
Take
love
it up
to.
with the Army, Ben.
I would love to redo this test, and the test is so much better than it was. Like I know what it used to be, and it is way better. It's not bad. It's not bad, but it could be so much more effective. So here's how you do it: is first I would want to know the scoring system. So do you get more credit for? Is it like you get like scored on each one? It's a cumulative score across those things. Is it only your weakest link? I would love to know the scoring system. But really, what you want to do is give me one of the things. You choose which one. There was a lot in there.
The list again. Yeah, I'll do the first one because it was the shortest. 2-mile run. This is the Army Combat Fitness.
Let's just take the 2-mile run. We'll just start there.
Go for it. Yep.
Okay. So a 2-mile run, what we want to be able to do there is first and foremost is be able to run 2 miles very, 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 very comfortably. If you want to go fast at a 2-mile run, first you got to be able to run a 2-mile run slow. That's really how it goes. The way you get better at doing that slow is you have to run longer than 2 miles. So the first thing we need to be able to do is run 3 miles, 4 miles, and 5 miles. I don't think you're going to get with all of the other things. If it was just a 2-mile run, I would have you go a lot longer than that. But I don't think you need to run much more than 5 or maybe 6 miles. But I do want you to be able to run 5 miles comfortably. It's weird, but to be able to go fast, you got to be able to run slow. That's a really weird thing, but it's very, very true. People usually want to go and like interval this thing to death. But really what you need first and foremost is this is an aerobic test. You need to build up the aerobic system. And if you're doing 45-second intervals, you're staying in that glycolytic pathway. Even if you're doing like 400 repeats, you're staying in the glycolytic pathway. The test is not glycolytic, it's oxidative. It's going to take you probably closer to 14 minutes to run 2 miles. So we need to be able to do that. Then from there, I would build up a little bit of speed. But really what I would do is for the running one, I would have you running 3 days a week, one longer, that 5 or 6 miles, one at like a more of a tempo pace, like a 2.5 to a 3.5 mile, and quicker than you would the long one, but not even at race pace. And then I would have you do some interval work above race pace. And that would be 400s to 800s. So running somewhere between a minute and 15 seconds to 3.5 minutes at a time. And you want to overload that to where you're doing it more than 2 miles worth. So an example would be let's say we do 400s. That'd be 8 400s equals 2 miles. You need to be able to I would be doing at least that many, if not 10, 12, or 15 400s. Most people need to build up more endurance than they do just pure speed. Most people can run a lot faster than they can far. So that's where I would start with. And that's a principle I would take to all of these things. So really quickly, I won't go as much depth, but push-ups. How many push-ups can you do unbroken? Let's say it's 20. Cool. Let's bop that down to about 60%. We're going to do 10 to 12-ish. And we're going to do multiple sets of 10 to 12 with probably a minute or rest in between to the point where you're getting probably close to 200% of the reps that you expect to get inside of the workout.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay. Next question in our recover bucket from Jenny. She says, I'm 59. I've been doing CrossFit for 10 years. Before that, I did global gym workouts, 5Ks, and sprint triathlons. I've always had joint issues and was diagnosed with RA 2 years ago. I'm going to guess that's rheumatoid arthritis. I've been pushing through, but I have back surgery, how do you pronounce that?
Discectomy.
Discectomy, thank you. Laminectomy scheduled for June, and thumb reconstruction surgery on June 24th.
Whoa.
Busy June. So she's obviously out of it now. So Jenny, hope you're doing well. I'll be laid up for 6 weeks for the back surgery and about 12 weeks for the thumb surgery. I know I'll be able to walk and do gentle hikes, but no lifting. Aside from eating a lot of protein, do you have any suggestions for an older woman like myself to maintain muscle during this long recovery period?
Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to make sure I got this. 59 years old. She's going to have back surgery, which can take her for 6 weeks. and then thumb surgery, which is going to take her for 12 weeks.
Correct.
I don't know if those are overlapping. So is it 18 weeks total? Or do you think that like...
She says the back surgery is scheduled for June and thumb surgery on June 24th. So it seems like
they are overlapping.
Yeah,
okay.
They're overlapping to a degree.
Cool. Which is actually a good thing. Okay, How do you maintain muscle mass and strength during that phase? So what we want to do is actually go through this. You're going to be laid out for 6 weeks for the back surgery. And protein will help, but protein without activity doesn't do a ton. It's like I had a buddy that was a truck driver, and he would just crush like protein bars, thinking that he was going to get jacked. It doesn't quite work out like that. But man, it would be awesome if it did, right?
Just eating candy bars all day.
Yeah, so we do want to eat protein. You're right about that, but we do want to create some level of activity. The first one, and you nailed it, is walk. Like just walk a lot. Like walking is great. Stay active, and also know that it's 6 weeks and you're going to lose something. You're going to lose. If you're in great shape, Jenny, at 59 years old, if you're not as active for 6 weeks, there will be some atrophy. But the idea is we're just trying to minimize it as much as we could otherwise. And walking is great. Here's the next thing I would do is isometrics. So you can just check with your doctor, your PT, but even with the back surgery, there's probably a good chance that they would let you do things like wall sits. And wall sits, if you've ever done them, if you're holding a wall sit for 45 seconds to a minute, there's a lot of muscle activation going on there, a lot. I would also ask how soon you can get on a bike, because if you can walk, chances are they would allow you to do biking as well. For the back surgery, it won't be as soon as you can walk because it's a seated position, but I don't think it would be the full 6 weeks. So you could do some biking, and then from there, you could do some isolation type stuff, just to maintain some muscle mass. So like bicep curls, tricep extensions, lateral raises, just to keep some strength in muscles in the upper body. And similar to that is getting to this is going to sound weird, but getting to a Globo gym might be a great thing because you can lift in much safer positions. It is a time that this is appropriate because you could sit down and do some hamstring curls, right? It's not going to involve your back as opposed to like a deadlift or a squat, which involves the hamstrings, but also it's kind of the benefit of compound movements, but we actually want to avoid those during that time. After that 6 weeks and you have your thumb surgery, like time to get jacked legs. Like that's what it is. Like that's, do lunges, do squats, do deads, jumping squats, and just you do what you can with what you got. And that's the biggest thing is it's a mindset play of don't look at the things that you can't do. You do what you can, what you got for where you are, always.
Obviously, Jenny does not fall into this category, nor I think do folks listening. But I think the average person would read that and think, well, you're just supposed to do nothing until maybe forever, but at least until you're quote unquote fully recovered. And so I just wanted to call out the fact that we've skipped straight over that is because it's us and not because it's the common belief that you should, in any injury, whether it's back or thumb, that the immediate thing you should do is nothing. Sit on the couch and do nothing because you might break.
I'm hearing more and more from people that their doctors are catching on to this.
Interesting.
Like I had a conversation this morning with a member who had a ankle thing going on, and he was like, I went and saw my doctor yesterday, and he told me to keep lifting. And he's like, I was shocked by that. And so that's really cool that doctors are recognizing that movement heals.
Love that. All right. We're going to jump back into our questions in just 2 minutes. But first, a quick word of thanks from some sponsors. We're brought to you this week by LMNT. If you're looking to up your hydration game, we've got something exciting for you. Introducing LMNT Sparkling. It's a bold 16-ounce can, as Ben holds it up. It's a bold 16-ounce can of sparkling electrolyte water that delivers the same zero-sugar electrolyte formulation you already know and trust from LMNT. Get your mitts on some for yourself by going to drinklmnt.com/excellence. That's the letters LMNT. LMNT Sparkling is perfect for anyone wanting to stay hydrated without the downsides of sugar or caffeine. Each can supports your health across various occasions, turning the tide against sugar-laden and stimulant-loaded drinks. Imagine better hydration, sharper focus, and improved energy without the crash. Comes in amazing flavors like citrus salt, watermelon salt, grapefruit salt, and the debut of black cherry lime. LMNT Sparkling is currently available exclusively to LMNT insiders until their public launch, which they do not know when that will be. So if you're already an insider, you can get your hands on it right now. If you are not, just purchase an LMNT Insider bundle to gain access to LMNT Sparkling. Don't forget, you can still get a free LMNT sample pack with any purchase at drinkelement.com/excellence. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, and enjoy the next chapter of the salty reunion with LMNT Sparkling. We are also brought to you by OneSkin. With summer now in full swing, it is time to get serious about taking care of our skin. That's why we're thrilled to introduce you to OneSkin, a brand revolutionizing skincare with products backed by science and clinical studies. Learn more about all their skincare products by going to oneskin.co, and be sure to use the code EXCELLENCE at checkout to save yourself 15%. OneSkin's OS01 peptide targets the root causes of aging at the cellular level, reducing lines, wrinkles, and sagging skin. Whether you're hitting the beach or just enjoying some sun, OneSkin's sunscreens provide UV protection while reversing skin aging. I've been using it every time we've been to the beach this summer, and I'm loving it. Whether you're laying on the beach or like me chasing two kids around, OneSkin's OS01 powered sunscreens block UV rays while targeting the UV-induced skin aging you've already got. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your purchase with the code EXCELLENCE at oneskin.co. Trust me, your skin will thank you. That's 15% off. oneskin.co with the code EXCELLENCE. Support the show by letting them know we sent you. Invest in your skin's health with OneSkin today. Jumping back into our questions, this is a Connect question from Saskia. A very good friend has been struggling with depression and midlife issues for the past couple years. She's had counseling and taken antidepressants, but neither has helped. Every day is a struggle for her. She feels the future holds nothing and longs for the past when life was better. We meet regularly, and I have always listened without trying to persuade her to take any action. But now her husband is considering leaving her, and her relationship with her children is deteriorating. I wonder if starting at a gym or fitness class might help. I suggested she go to the gym every work day, join a group class, and try this for 3 months to see if physical activity improves her mental state. However, she is very reluctant, and I don't want to pressure her. Do you have any ideas on how I could help her? Any suggestion is most welcome.
Yeah. The first is, commend you for caring and being there. You're obviously a good friend and care a lot. I would go the next level, and if it's the point where she's going to lose her husband, she needs you as a friend to start letting her know that. Like, that's a big one. You know, people aren't going to change unless they're forced to change. And without that forcing function, the train is on the tracks and it's just going. And there needs to be something really jarring for a lot of people to be able to jump tracks. And that's what this is going to be. So the first thing is, as that friend, I know you don't, you're listening without trying to persuade. I think that if you guys meet a lot, and she's obviously sharing a lot with you, it's time to start trying to persuade. And I know it's going to be more uncomfortable, and there's a higher risk involved in that than just being the empathetic shoulder or ear, but it's time. And I really commend you for the spot on about, like, should we try getting them to a gym or fitness class for 3 months? The latest research, and I was just going through this, there's a number of meta-analysis, meaning studies of studies, with tens of thousands of participants that show regular physical activity is at least, if not more effective than pharmacological interventions, meaning that taking medicine, antidepressants. And by the way, there's so many other benefits that come along with exercise, like physical health, like being able to be more energetic and productive in life. And there's so many downsides of taking medication. So you're spot on that this is an excellent thing to do. If the question is, do I have suggestions for what you should do, because she's reluctant for it, the first one is, as I said, tell her what's at risk. You know, when my father-in-law was battling alcoholism, there was a number of conversations, you know, and there was a number of instances where I had one-on-ones with him about that there's a problem, and nothing changed until we said, you're going to lose your family. When we said, I don't think you realize how far this has gone. If this continues, you're losing your relationship with your family. And he's an awesome, like one of the best guys in the world and loves his family. He needed that ultimatum. He needed that awareness that this is how bad this was. And if this friend is able to speak to, you're going to lose your husband. Like, this is big. This isn't just you moping on the couch and you in a bad mood. This is like drastically affecting the people around you. They are not going to stick around for this indefinitely. You need to make changes. And I'm here to help you with those. And this is the second part. As it sounds like you've already suggested, going to the gym. Here's the way I would do this is come to the gym with me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pick you up on the way to the gym, and you can come to the gym with me 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week. Here's the other part. Man, I just think that it's the number of exposures that actually make the change. So if they come to the gym 2 or 3 times a week, it's going to take 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks before they see the change. If they go to the gym with you 4, 5, 6 days a week, it's going to happen so much. It's just like playing guitar. How many times are you going to practice guitar? If you practice guitar once or twice a week, it's going to take you a year or 2 to become proficient, meaning see the results. So I'm a big fan of immersion, full indoctrination, change the environment drastically. As we've said before, it's easier to be 100% than it is 80-20. So that's where I would go is like, hey, every morning, I'm going to pick you up at 6 a.m., Monday through Friday, every morning. And let's just see how this goes. Let's see if we can change your life, change your relationship with your husband. And let's do this for 3 months, 90 days, 90-day challenge where I'm going to do this Monday through Friday. So it's a hard situation, but in order to see a result, there needs to be a risk taken. And that risk taken is the higher level, harder conversation. And don't underestimate the impact that your simple voice can have. You've already, sounds like already established a level of trust with your friend. Now it's time for you to use that trust to make some change.
Yeah, I like that. And just to reinforce that, she said at the end of that, she doesn't want to pressure her, but
yeah, no, it's pressure time.
Pressure it's not a bad thing always.
No. Yep.
Like if the right pressure with the right intent can be an amazing thing.
Absolutely.
Can be all of the difference. And a lot of times we need somebody to put that kind of pressure on us to make us go the 2 feet further than we're willing to go by ourselves, to mirror back to us, oh, maybe I am capable of that. You believe in me. Maybe I should believe in me. Why do you believe in me? What am I not seeing? Well, I don't believe in me, but I trust you. And if you believe in me, then maybe I can take that 2 steps. And so again, it's just reinforcing what you said. But if we build the relationships we want, if we create the connections that we talk about all the time, then it's in some ways like not putting the pressure on the people in our lives is actually stealing from them in a way.
Yeah. Sure. I think the words they use, which are great, is pressure with the right intention.
Yeah.
It's not, she doesn't need another ultimatum, right? If you don't make this change, I'm leaving. But pressure with the right intention, like, I care about you. I want this for you. And, as you said, she didn't want to put the pressure on, but how many people really make change without pressure?
Right. That's a great point. Yeah.
Nobody studies for the exam until the exam is, 2 days away. Mm-hmm. No one does the project when it's assigned. They do it when it's due. It's like we need the pressure. That's the reason deadlines are so impactful. And we need our peers to call us out when we're not acting in line with our values. So I don't want to make light of this either. Like, depression's a real thing. I have a lot of sympathy for this because, I think it's really easy to go like, well, just be in a better mood. About 15 years ago, I was at my first CrossFit games. And after the event, we so far exceeded our expectations. We had we rented a house on the beach in Northern California in Aromas. and we're all celebrating. You know, we're in the, there's like 15 of us staying in this house. It's this amazing celebratory thing. And I started to get like this really weird, sad feeling out of nowhere. We're just hanging out like at the table upstairs. Everyone's drinking and doing this thing and like partying. And I went downstairs and I drew the curtains and I just started crying. Like I couldn't control this level of remorse. And what ended up happening was I got stung by a bee after the event, and the medical people gave me a prescription that I picked up at the drugstore. It was like prednisone, and I had this weird, depressing reaction. I don't know if it's because I had a couple drinks with it or something like that, but I understood how you cannot just snap out of it. It's not a matter of, it was a chemical thing. Mm-hmm. And it was the thing that I had no control over. Well, this is something to have a lot of empathy, but also realize that if we need to change internal chemistry, training is how you do that. That is, you need movement to create different chemical changes inside the body. And there's so much, there's a lot saying that the least healthy thing that a depressed person can do is nothing, because when they do nothing, they ruminate on their depression. Mm-hmm. And when they ruminate on their depression, it's essentially throwing gas on the fire, and it makes it so much worse. The simple act of going out and buying groceries alleviates depression. Mm-hmm. Because they're out and doing something beyond just like, why am I so depressed? Now, when you go so far as to get into a social environment in a gym doing activity, the multifaceted effects of what that has on depressed individuals is significant and substantial.
Agreed. All right, next question is from David. It's in our Think category. I've been a CrossFitter since 2011 and a comp train athlete since 2020. I'm turning 40 next year. For the past decade, CrossFit has been my hobby, and I find great fulfillment in pushing myself both in and out of the gym. How do you balance creative pursuits like writing with your workouts, especially as a morning person with limited personal time? I injured myself last year and started writing a novel during my usual CrossFit time before work and the kids waking up. As a data scientist and engineer, I found creative writing put me in a similar flow state to a great workout. It was incredibly refreshing. Since neither CrossFit nor novel writing pays the bills and both take time away from my family, how do you suggest I approach my near-term goals of finishing the novel and getting back in shape for the Open to improve my percentile rank each year?
That's awesome, David. Like, you're hitting like the trifecta. You're an engineer.
Yep.
You're a CrossFitter, a comp trainer on top of that.
Yep.
And you've found this passion for creative writing.
Yeah, I bet you're not boring, David. That's what I think. I kind of
want to date David. So here's I know that what you're looking for is a tool, a mechanical answer of how to do this. I'm going to do the opposite. This is what we're all searching for. We all should be so lucky to have so many passions in our lives that we don't have enough time. That's it. That's it. That's the goal. That's the goal, is to love life, have so many passions in your life that you don't have the time to do them. And we're always going to be up against that. And there is no solve. There isn't. You can go into like the weekly block it off, do this. Yep. You can. Yep. You got to get up a half hour earlier. You got to, but there is none. It is, we make time for what's important to us. So cool that you have multiple things that are healthy, put you in a flow state that you can't put them all in. This is what we're looking for, David. So good on you. That's it.
I'll leave it at that. Last question we've got is in our E category from Donald. I've signed up for a local competition in September. It includes 3 workouts, 2 of which are high-intensity cardio chippers with time caps of 10, 10, and 12 minutes. I don't know if those are 3 time caps, and he said 2 of them are high cardio. So we'll figure out what the truth is. What are the best nutrition tips for refueling between events, and what should I eat? That's the more important question.
Okay, so what should I eat between events? What I actually need to know more than anything else is how much time is in between the events. Yep. So if there's a half hour...
assume it was like a throwdown that you threw, 7 or 8 years ago at the gym.
So it'd probably be an hour and a half between each event.
Yeah, between 30 and 90 was going to be what I said. Yep.
So here's the question is, how do you fuel for those events? The answer is you don't fuel a lot. You just need to put in the minimal amount of calories to be able to sustain activity, which is not going to be that many. So assuming that you have 3 events and there's an hour and a half between each of those, you have basically like a 3 to 4.5 hour window. That's essentially like you have a meal beforehand, you have lunch, and you have dinner. And we're going to do this between lunch and dinner. You don't need a lot of extra calories or fuel to make this thing go for 3 10-minute workouts. Now, you can do a little bit of stuff. And what you want to do is, first and foremost, the biggest and most important thing is nothing that disrupts your stomach, your GI. So it's something that you can eat, and you can eat easily. That's why most athletes will go towards things like liquid, like Gatorade with Gatorade with an LMNT pack in it is phenomenal. Because people think Gatorade is electrolytes. It is not. Gatorade is a carbohydrate drink. So Gatorade will give you the carbohydrates. It's a liquid, so it'll give you the hydration. If you add an LMNT pack, you're getting the electrolytes. That's a great place to kind of like keep some calories coming in. If you have like 1.5 or maybe 2 of the small ones or 1 of the bigger ones during that period, you'll be at least not bonking. And then from there, could you have maybe a fuel for fire between each event?
Yep, I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, so a fuel for fire, is going to be about 100-ish calories. So you don't need a whole lot more than that. In a 10-minute event, you're going to be burning probably about that. That would be 600 calories an hour, which is you might be burning a little more, 150, 120, but you don't need to replace every calorie you burn either. So the way I would do this is have a nice, good, normal meal 2.5 hours before your first event, then Gatorade and fuel for fire with some elements in between events, and then you have your last event. So it's really just fueling for event 2 and event 3. And if they're less than an hour and a half apart, you don't need to fuel really at all in between. You just don't need a ton of extra stuff. This is so different than the question of like the CrossFit Games, which the event goes on for like 12 hours across 4 days. Yep. And the events could range upwards of 3.5 hours for each event in length. That it's like the nutrition game is like almost a sport unto it, an event unto itself that you need to train for.
Didn't they just announce they're going to do Chad 1000 at the games this year? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a good example. And then marathon, yes. I thought that when I saw that, I thought marathon row, and I was just like, okay, yep. There you go. Dig it. Thank you, everybody, for sending us questions. Again, chasingexcellence.email. Get on the newsletter list. We'll send out a link to a form. You can ask your questions, and we'll do our best to get them into future episodes. Ben, thank you. We'll be back soon with a brand new episode of Chasing Excellence.